Okay, so we are on. I need a little extra monitor help. Actually very hot, so I'm gonna stop drawing and then drop some layers because I thought it need. Oh, okay, merge it down. Very well. That's not going to be a disturbance for the horsey. The horsey. I think I'm gonna like work it in negative. Because my thought is if I go for black, yes, I can see stuff. But I think I'm gonna lose a little bit of my gesture. So I'm gonna try to I'm gonna do the forms, then fold it up, and then add the highlights. And I'm gonna start from the easier part as a warm-up and work my way up. So if my mouse decides to start to work, I can not draw the lines here, but okay, so I can get some references. And I see a lot of highlights, which will be fine. Plus, I'm gonna add a little more to distinguish the forms. And that's how we work today. Now, I wanted to do big block at a time, but I think I'm gonna do it in a small and contained manner. Actually, we can turn the opacity way up because there's still black underneath, so I can see better. Don't know how I'm going to get this in a relaxed manner. Is that any way I do it, it's just dead ass wrong. Okay, this one feels good. Tell you what, let's first add the other one. Then we can okay. So that would be the first part. But yeah, it doesn't really work. Well, it doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, I'm gonna still just remove it. Okay, that's nice. Maybe we can make it back to 50 so I can see a little bit. Okay, how about... So we start with the first pure black. And let's add some reflections. The way that I could describe it is have it cave in. Makes you wonder. Let's say I do this and I put it down. There's the line. Yeah, I don't know. It feels kind of weird because then I think I'm gonna have. Well, no, actually, this is gonna work great for my background, right? But yeah, whatever. So this form is going to be curving a little bit. I want to describe it like it ascends somewhat like this. Looks like shit. Maybe works. Yeah, I did use this thing to draw the lines anyway. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to be our little separation. Then let's paint in the highlights. Well, this, yeah, I'm starting to get very tired of this filling tool. It is really not good. There's an highlight here. There's another one over here. Okay. So we were saying I want it to be a little rounder. That's gonna feel definitely better. Yeah, same goes for this one, but unfortunately, I have mistakenly fucked myself over. So we're gonna start back. Okay, now I can delete this very well. Yeah, so starting from the back one, it does wrap a little bit. So it's going to be like wraps on the bottom, climbs a little and wraps again, you know? This must feel a little more. Kinda. You can also put a longer one over here. Very well. And okay. Then working top, this is even more rounded. So what I was trying to do beforehand, maybe I could go with 10 here. is to get this shape. It's not particularly what I wanted, but works quite nicely. I'm not sure it's working that to the extent that I want it to be working, but okay. Think I'm overly think I'm overly relying on my reference, and that's making them a little bit wonkier than it should be. Probably should use it only as a way to just guide myself as to where to put them, and then try to follow the form a little more. But whatever's, I'm fine with keep it going, because a lot of the times overfixating ends up being very useless. So line weight doesn't really matter at this point. Just gonna do it at 20 just because that's what I usually use. But it doesn't really matter since I can only see the outline. Can even exaggerate this in the inside the lines, because as I said before, I'm still going to blacken everything out, so you know, might as well. I would have sworn that this worked. Where's the interruption? It has to be pretty big, right? Where the fuck is it? All right. Well, let's transfer it below. And this is obviously all black now. You gotta be fucking kidding me. Set C. Okay, very well. Good. Transfer. Okay, very well. So now we can carve out a little more of this. Gonna start with the line art part and the separation parts. Starting from the belly. Okay, this is looking little by little sexy. I'm not gonna lie, the negative way of working is kind of cool. Some kind of reverse line work. Because I think its nostrils are a little bit more relaxed than I like. So maybe we can stress them out a little. Yeah. Today I'm feeling the vibe very much. It's actually nice to also know I don't have really, there is no job today, no day job, so I can focus a little more on my drawing and relax for the time. Now, to be honest, still have other crap to do. So that sucks, but whatever. Kinda have to if you want to be any sensible adult. Okay, so this works. Now let's put some highlights, maybe a teeny tiny bit of shading. And then I think we're golden. Now I suddenly regret very much my decisions on the bottom part. Thing is, I think we can fix it. Right? Can always go back and add a little bit more of black. So I guess no harm in that. You know, the negative looks absolutely stunning. Or in the very least, I really enjoy working this way. Yeah, so this gets the separation from the altar. Just a teeny tiny bit. Now, working to some highlights. So, the most obvious one that I can work very easily is this. So I'm on 10, which is good. Which would basically mean yeah, so there's a light highlight here, and there's some sharper ones. So first off, around the ear. No, what the fuck I'm talking about? Around this hole, and then we can close it up like that. All right, because there's no color here, so that was awkward. I thought that it will fill in since, you know, apparently that's not how it works. Now, to be honest, I would wish to keep the shape more. So instead of erasing everything, how about we're gonna keep this very slim. And we're gonna get like a bigger chunk like this. Okay, so I don't lose the shape information. Actually, that little bit of dirt, it's quite charming. I find it quite nice. Okay. That's about it from the bottom part. You can also add some hatching. Now, there is a bit of this going on here. Okay, and this time it worked. Good. Gonna add just a little bit of black to here. Okay. Because it also has a little bit of a scratching vibe to it. Yeah. Now for the white part. Okay. I'm yet to be getting used to this format. Yeah, I say an exciting way to think about shapes and forms. There is such a strong and weird and nice contrast. Okay, so this kind of works, but as before, I don't want to lose some information when I don't decide it to. In this case, I haven't. Information stays there. Sick. Okay, what more can we work? So these guys have a little bit of texture. Maybe I could be consistent with my textures. That's not going to be. It's not going to be like a bad idea. It's a little bit freeing to just be like, yeah, I know it's not that line, but if I decide that the line is important, or if there's something to be told by removing or adding lines, you just do it. Like being accurate comes second for it looking nice and something pleasing, or even something looking fun and neat for me. There was this video that I found. I guess it's from TikTok. I don't have the app, but to me it was on Instagram. Basically, this, I don't know, girl, guy, whatever. He didn't had any recognizable name. But basically, they made a smoothie, I guess, and in the comments, people ask like, "Is this for getting fat or is this for getting skinny?" And they were like, "Yeah, yeah, I just made it because I wanted to drink it, so it's to enjoy it." That actually felt in the way, in a way right now I feel with the references, because that's, yeah, sure, the reference has this, but since in this specific moment I am not actually studying the reference, I'm fine with contradicting it a little if that helps my result. And so far it did. The thickness of the lines, I would have never guessed that gives so much more character to the drawing. I don't know, it must be that good old theme about that contrast usually makes things look cooler. So it must be by the same mark. That's what's happening when you do this. When you work your way up to different thickness, like it must read better to our eyes because there's nothing usually that's smooth and that silk feeling. Even in the crooked, like if you're going to make some, I don't know, if you're going to make a palace or a building or a car, it being a little bit crooked, it actually makes it feel just a tiny bit um, more natural than if it's perfectly straight. There's a weird way now how our brain works. You'd think that accurate is more better, but descriptive usually ends up being more indicative of your representation, which I find both infuriating and hilarious. Oh yeah, the face render is coming out together quite nicely. Might wanna add a little bit of cast shadow over here. Just a tiny slim. Now for the eyes. Tell you what, before I go over, let's merge. Let's transfer it because I want to see. Oh yeah. Okay. So the nose portion. Same goes like a little highlight over here. Brother, I'm not yet used to having glasses. Sometimes daunts me that I'm now fucking blind. This has to be something that is close to inconsequential. Actually, sometimes it's even comfy to have glasses. Like when I clean with some stupid cleaning, with like some cleaning stuff. Having glasses comes handy because I can put them on and not spill shit in my eyes. But the first time that I knew that I've lost a little bit of eyesight, it was just devastating. I tried it to not be devastating. But per the fact that I was used to have perfect eyesight and the fact that I probably was the one that actually brought out the problem, it really it put me into feelings like very stupid. I think that I attribute to it be that was the most like what made it feel so bad. But now I'm adjusting kinda well, so also now we have surgeries for these things. And I think I'm gonna just keep losing it. Or not gonna make it on purpose, obviously, but Like inevitably, I'm still gonna lose a lot of it, so I'm gonna try to make the best out of it, wait it out, and then get a good operation when the time is right. Now, I don't think I want to go, except maybe some details from the tongue, like so. Tongues usually have a little bit of details on them, like that. Now, the bottom part kind of pisses me off. Just a little bit. Feels like silky smooth. So maybe we can suggest a little bit. Just to give some kind of indication. Okay. I don't want to overcrowd that part. Also, I'm hot as balls. Wait a minute. I think I nailed the evil look. Plus, it's very metal for it to be this level of like having it pitch black looks very nice. Oh, look at the highlights. They do a lot of job on the face. They reinforce a lot. So see, this is the part that makes it look kind of neat. Okay. So there's one. So I'm gonna add some background. I'm gonna add a little of miasma coming from him. I'm gonna slap on it the Jojo menacing. And we are calling it a day. For this illustration, we're very soon into the stream, so I can at very least start the second one. Today I have to go, well, have to. So I decided to get my 2 hours checked in. Maybe in general, start to get before 7 so that I can get 7 to 9. That would be a good pace, I think. That sounds like a nice pace to be streaming to. Right, so for the background, okay, this is the layer that I don't need. This is my background layer. I'm gonna go 20 thick. Honestly, we can go even 30. But if we go pure black, I think we can get a very subtle grayish look. It's still kind of distracting from the lines. Let's get it, yes. Let's get it 17. So I'm gonna focus on the lines, them to be reminiscent of something straight. And then I'm gonna worry about most of anything else. Again, this is some liberty that I'm finally taking. I don't know why I was so afraid of the drawing part. I don't know why drawing specifically bring out so much insecurities. I mean, I understand that it's a very difficult topic. Okay, I don't know how to. All right. I understand that it being a difficult topic and all. Yeah, it looks grayish. If we were to go for black, how distracting does that get? I have to say, not so bad. Alright, I can make it a little bit lighter. Let's convert it temporarily blue so I can erase these parts. But one thing that I notice is that boldness and discipline does not carry over to everything, which is a funny way in which our brain work. I would have 1000% think that if you're bold, you should always, it will stand to reason that that's always the case. Personally, it isn't. I believe it has to do with overthinking. That must be part of it. Okay, I kind of don't want to lose not even the queen shape because I fought for these lines, so I'm not going to let them blend in. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of consideration that comes into mind. And molds have to be one of those things that you need to just ignore to the center degree. Let's put like some cases in which you be like, yes, I know I should be thinking it in that way, but then you don't. That's the only way that you're gonna survive some situations, some cases. So it really, it's a defense mechanism. I thought myself as bold or courageous. I always was someone that dodges conflicts because, in my opinion, it always felt disruptive and stupid. Like, why are we going to? Why do we need to be in this situation at this moment? Can't we just talk it out? And I still truly believe that most of the times you can just talk it out. It's gonna be way more efficient and simply put better. but I have realized that that's like not always possible. Like a coworker of mine, he talked to me about how if we're not armed, basically you are at the goodwill of others. That same goes with boldness or anything else. When you have to step up, you have to step up. Like even if it doesn't work out quite the way that you had it, you envision it, or somebody gets pissed or whatever, not, or you sometimes show bad, like it looks bad on you. It's still a communication. It's still a communicator about the fact that you're not gonna. This is not how it goes. And that's something I didn't really vote for the most part. Well, it wasn't really even thought it. Nobody taught me. Not blaming my parents, but every children is basically a puzzle, I feel. So it's of course hard to know who needs what at what moment. Actually, can I convert this into white lines? Should be able to. Wouldn't that look better? Yeah, because otherwise they're lost. But I think they will look sick if I go back to white. It's like 15. And I don't know, slap it on a superior layer. Yeah, this one needs to be covered. Okay, yeah, the black stays. Very well, let's keep the spirit. Now, at this moment, I wouldn't still qualify as someone bold, but I'm learning into it. Even drawing and publishing on social media has actually worked myself into, has propped myself a little into working on that. Just when life doesn't ask you to be something, you basically won't be. That's just a more natural choice. There's going to be very. There is no convincing arguments to be like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing a lot of very hard and tedious tasks. Just it isn't really in the plans, you know? But it truly ends up being that one thing that actually helps the most. Okay, let's add a little miasma, kind. Okay, I need comic books. Be right back. I need to find something menacing. Or that it looks like menacing. Maybe in here? Mm, like volume 3? I don't know. Yeah, doesn't look like I have something about Dark Miasma. What if I just search the JoJo menacing panel and then from that they usually have a little bit of effect. So JoJo menacing. Okay, there's the PNG. Can I just copy and slap it straight on the software without downloading? This is not without the background, you piece of shit. JoJo menacing. I have to go on Pinterest. It's still like a garbage website, same as Google, but it gets most of the job done. So JoJo. Now I have to say, JoJo doesn't have really a good story. I think the sixth was one of the best ones, definitely. But it does have one cool thing. Bro, stop. Please stop. I swear. Please, I just need a picture. Oh my god, I just want a picture. Please. Evil Maya manga. Okay, no, that evil effect manga. Is that this is one of those things that I've seen thousands of times, but I'm not. I just don't. I don't remember it. I don't know how to put it here. I swear there's been like thousands of times when some dark character walks in and everything is like dark and whatever. Yeah, I think that Uta walking. Maybe I should just drag here the what I'm searching. It's probably right here. So I need to move my keyboard, right? I can't move it that much. It's going to be awkward as fuck. Uta walking in class. JJK. Manga, please. We're working on ink here, boys. Yeah, so even in this part, it's more like a scratchy vibe, right? It's not exactly what I was thinking about the evil radiating. Manga. Evil radiating. Eh, Radiating. Okay, this is closer to what I feel like. And there's this dark aura. Yeah. This is nice. I don't want to cloud it out. Okay. This is the shit. So it looks like I'm gonna just have to make flame-like stuff. That's probably the most convincing. No, okay, this is the one that I was searching. But yeah, it's actually the opposite of what I've imagined, so I don't want to go that route. Let's slap on it like some dark flames situation. Nope. Again, not very good. Tell you what, I'm gonna give a try to. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. Then we're gonna give a couple of tries. I think the scratchy one is going to look great. But maybe if I limit it only to the top side, I don't want to make so much black. Even if that will make my queen pop off a little more. Be right back. But I got lucky that the break happened the same time I was in break. Okay. But at the moment I want this image dropped in my reference. And I also want like maybe overkill with the JoJo reference thing, but whatever. If I can get my hands on a decent JoJo reference kind of shit, that would be good. JoJo menacing. No background, please. It's just a white background. This guy is a prick. God damn it. Gist.github, what? Tell you what, I can find his username. ISOS. I can find him. Maybe not. I need the users. ISOS. Did I miss a letter? Oh, it's AA. Thought I counted 6. Aaron. Okay, so he nuked this shit. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm very close to just be like, I can make it, right? And not just the checkered background. It's a white paper. Yes, you're absolutely right. My bad. Why did you respond to a 5-month old post? Like, am I going to go through all of them? Please, please. Let's check it even over here. Yeah, no, people are pieces of shit. Unless I need to download it directly. Maybe like the problem simply lays into how I downloaded it. I don't know why people are like this. But what the fuck? Just load it here. Thank fucking God, man. Let's put like a couple. This. Okay, so that's sweet. For the scratchy part, I don't know at this point if I want to put the scratches part. I think I can just be lazy and simply plaster a lot of JoJo around like so. And we're gonna call it a day and see the miasma for another day. This is more than enough for what's happening today. Yep. I say the horse's mouth went sick, bro. The horse's mouth is just something absolutely amazing. So export to PNG. This is day 16. We are officially 2 days behind. Now, if I remember correctly, day 17 is ornate, which it is guaranteed to be like a piece of shit kind of day. I'm 1000% sure that's going to be one of those days that I regret taking this challenge on. Which has been lately every day. I think I'm overstressing how I do stuff. But I'm very satisfied at the end. So I'm gonna keep it going like that. The only thing that I don't know how to feel about is what about the 31st of December? 31? I think it's 31st. I don't know how to say it. But by the end of the month, if I'm like 1 or 2 pieces below, sure. But I don't want to get to finish Inktober in like very far away November. I want to put a limit on it. Also because there's the Advent coming in, and I want to give us wing to the Advent at the same time. Eight. That's the incorrect caption. So blunder 16 point blunder. So I have to obligatory share my work with my girlfriend, with my friends that draw, and on my Instagram. Then we can move on. At that point, I'm actually really done. Okay. Let's create it. At the I should just copy and paste my caption at this point, but Inktober 16 point blunder. Like this joke requires both that you know what the fuck's going on in chess. Most know how the knight looks, but I don't think that most know how the queen looks. Like my girlfriend thought that this was the king. I thought it's going to be very simple because like the king has a cross, so it has not be the king. Every other piece is short, so that's not going to be it. Now that I see my horse is actually a tiny bit taller, whatever. And I think you can maybe confuse it for the bishop, I think, but the bishop, it's slimmer at the top. Like the queen is the only one that has some kind of crown situation. But this joke is for me. If somebody else gets it, that's okay. So Inktober blunder, then we tag Inktober, and we tag Inktober 2025. So this works. Like, do I make... Probably the easiest way is just to make a text note document, the desk, and in this description just to slap on everything except the day. So I just need to type like Inktober 17 and be done. Okay, so share. Okay, so the day, the 17th day. it is going to be ornate, and 18 is deal. I have ideas for both of them. I'm tired at the idea of both of my ideas. Today I have to stretch it for 2 hours, so in 45 minutes I probably can make at least a sketch, which I would ink on Saturday, Sunday. I wonder if I can just get it done today. Makes me wonder. No, I think I can. Like if by, I don't know, 12 o'clock I'm ready for it, that's going to work nice in my favor. Like 12 is something who looks great. Mm-hmm. I actually take a look at my posts on my stories. Those are very cringe. Okay, time to pull up some references. As ornate goes, I want to do something a little bit of a surprise for my GF, and I want to fan art hair and then move on to, like, I want to make a fan art of hair in which she's with a lot of ornaments on top. So like put a crown, some sick jewelries, like a nice bracelets and everything of that. That's my idea for today. Or should I say yesterday. Problem is I'm not very good at actually making expression people, so I'm gonna try what I can do the best and then take a look. First off, pulling up a reference of my girlfriend should not be too difficult. I know already which one I want. I'll just have to find it. Because sometimes my phone gets who are the people. But it doesn't always go like that. Problem is with people, there's a lot of subtle changes on how somebody looks. So I think it's going to be kinda hard to understand it. You know, actually, this picture is already very ornated. So what I need to ensure that it's hair, I think I need to get the proportions right. Once I have them in a usable manner, I can afterwards I can go from there. Second, let's add the jewelry part. Now, the reference that I have is also from a nice restaurant where there are a lot. It's already a nice looking place. It's very bizarre and has a lot of weird trinkets and stuff. And I think I'm gonna use that as a base. Then every single piece that I want to use as an ornament, I'm gonna try to enhance it in a queenish way because she likes a lot of jewelries, and everything that I'm gonna give her is gonna be what she has, but one step beyond. So that's the plan. But before that, let's try to box in what I'm gonna look. Let's work a lot on her face. Try to make the face as accurate as I can. Then we're gonna work on everything else. Very scared. I've tried to draw her before. It worked to some degree. I don't think it's the worst drawing. I'm used to knowing her, so it is as accurate as I could get for the time. Now the picture would be divided from table and wall. I'm gonna lower a little bit the table because I want more space for her. And there's the corner wall over here. Actually, the background I'm not gonna bother with just at the moment. What I deeply care is understanding, like trying to get the relationships. I can even lower it up even more and think about the ornaments on itself. Now, so the place that we had has this table with winged chairs. It's going to be a nice focal point, which I don't want to go way too deep on it. But let's first off keep it like this, somewhat centered. Make it bluish and start to point the features. Now I started back to draw a box. And one thing that it really bogs me down from the heads is that at this moment, I'm very confused on how to represent most of the volumes because I've noticed that I've been memorizing how the jaw is working, but I haven't really put a thought on. I haven't really put any thought into how the volumes of the jaw and the cheeks are working. And part of that I'm gonna attribute it to what's it called? The Loomis method. I think that the Loomis method has done more damage to me personally than has helped. Because Loomis, so it helps the cranium to work very well. Like if I have to say this, the circle part, like that's the volume of the cranium, right? Then you would want to, what was it? Drop it in thirds. So halfway point is where this is be where the eyebrows are. Drop it a third. This is where the nose should go, and this is where the mouth should go. So these are nice markers, don't get me wrong. I don't dislike this idea of Loomis. Problem with Loomis is now I don't know how I'm describing, like where does the cheek volumes come in? Because the face so has the protruding part, which is the nose, right? So I can understand the protruding part just doing this. All right. The intruding part, which is gonna come with the eyes. Now on the front, it's not really gonna be that heavy, but you still see a tiny bit of protruding. Now, the cheekbones are actually extruding, but I don't know how to put it in perspective. No? Because because there's going to come a straight line from which holds the jaw, right? So the jaw is held together by this bone. Then the bottom bone, I don't know how this part is called, is over here. Now, the top bone actually is very inside, so you won't see it. What you would see is this curvature over here, which would, I guess, would be like that, right? So this one is basically straight. This is a straight plane, as well as this one. It's a little bit intruding, but it's not gonna be like a big deal. Now the cheek probably should start higher up, because now that I taste, I'm touching my bones. I feel that they are basically connected. Like this is a little bit intruding, but that's how it would work, somewhat like this way. Okay. And yeah, the cheek is going to be a little. So there's the eye socket. I think that this is like something like that of a shape, right? Like this must be it. Because now some things will start to make sense. Obviously, I actually messed it up. I think I made the eyes way too big, the eye socket. The eye socket finished before the nose. Yeah, there's a little bit of space here. Also feels like it's dependent on my girlfriend is higher up. So let's cut the shock. Let's work this out a little bit better. Okay, I think I'm skipping some steps. Okay, let's explore. I'm feeling inclined to explore, so let's explore. Okay, let's shorten up the sockets. So let's say that they are shorter. Now the cheekbone is gonna fall down somewhere over here with this kind of curvature. All right. And this is where the dimples, right, come in, right? So this is a guideline for the dimples. So I always thought that they do start from the nose, which I think that's where it's getting pulled from. But they wrap around the cheek, or something of these sorts. Okay. Now, from the front face, I don't care about much about the volumes from the lips. The only way that I can represent them is just to add some shadow. Like the only way they are represented with details, you know. So one thing that I've noticed recently is that even the bottom lip has some kind of wrapping. So you're just gonna do that and maybe get some texture that wraps up the form. So the mouth is going to be, it usually is as long as, so the nose finishes on the eye. Don't even know what the piece is called, but the piece when your eyes finish. And the mouth usually goes on the as long as where the pupils go. Yeah. So that's basically how far we go. Now in the jaw department, so our jaw is is rounded over here, but on the four face is going to be more like straight line and has to connect at some point to our vertical piece of jaw. Something like this. Okay. And this curvature starts apparently at the mouth. Yes, it does look like the mouth. So since I have a front plane, yeah, this is where my line should go. Now, all of this is kind of useless because I have to get my girlfriend's proportions in there. Yeah, the face is starting to be more convincing. So let's first off put on some volumes, then we're gonna fix the proportions, then we're gonna clean the sketch, and finally we can work on the decoration side. That's gonna be, I just want to cry. I know that this is going to take me so many days. It's gonna be like, today is just the beginning. Plus, I've been drawing very hard for the last one. Like, the last one was very heavy. So at this, like in this current situation, I'm kind of tired. I'm wondering if I should like grab a coffee. Like it's mentally draining, but I feel like I want to go out. I still want to go out. Okay, let's take it slow. Must be also Twitch that's draining. This has to be like at some point at Twitch. It must still take a lot. Okay, back to perspective. Shoulders. Or worse than that. I know that is not especially indicative of my. Okay, this one starts. Okay, I know it's not super indicative of the volume, but since I'm looking from the front plane, how much does this, like, where does this get placed? I think that there's some confusion over there, or to myself. How about if I imagine that the box, since I'm working from the front, I have to be looking like that. Maybe a little more closer to this. Since in this picture my front plane, did I just remove the part that I need from the balls? Okay. So my plane is gonna look flatter since I'm making the picture and the eyes from the picture are basically hair eyes height. I'm gonna see a little bit of the top plane and a little bit of the front plane. Now, where does the shoulder come in? Do I see the shoulder socket? I think that is going to bend on the bones. I'm a little bit fuzzy on the bones. I know that they both see. It has to be something around like this. This is the clavicle. It's a little bit of the wing, and then at some point, this is where the arm goes in. It has to be external to the body. Otherwise, you can't really push it in, right? Or even rotate it. It has to be on the outer edge. So it makes me wonder that it's like something over here, right? It's not inside these planes because it won't make sense to be able to move it. Sorry about the boom. It wouldn't really make sense to move it inwards, right? Like, that's not really some good place to go inwards. Okay, then back to Why do I have... Let's discard the picture that I needed. God fucking damn it. Okay. So going back to our stuff. Now, I've deduced that the shoulder plane should have been external, right? Plus, there's going to be, like, let's put away the shoulder muscle, let's put away the deltoid and talk about the biceps. These things are kind of fused together. So one visual way in which I can represent the volume being fused, I think it has to be like somewhat like this. I have to intrude because the biceps or the chest is fused to the arm, right? And so goes for the shoulder. In order to make it look natural, they have to fuse in some way. But since my GF in these pictures goes from the front, this is more accurate to what I'm seeing. So this is part of the body, right? And this is part of the arm. Now the arm is not so short, it's actually touching the table, so that's where it goes. And at some point, it's going to be the next ligament, which would be the only word that's coming to mind now is knee. I feel less native now than ever. The elbow. Okay, so the elbow is the next point of contact where there's another bone. And I can, by the same margin, just do a cylinder. But technically, it's a little like a more scuffed kind of cylinder, but that's details to be worried for later. Okay, so there's part one. Yep. Now volumes are there, position is not, nor is, I think, proportions. But let's now think about the volumes. Once I fix them, I can crunch together stuff. Gonna take like, I think I'm gonna try to do 3 or 4 sketches until I get something satisfying, because I think she would enjoy this post. If I can get her appearance somewhat reasonable. Like right now, I think the face is very far away. Also, humans has like small eyes, and after anime, it looks bizarre to me. Like normal proportions look jarring, which is so weird. Okay, so goes from the same coin. This is how low we should go. Amazing. Maybe let's do the same thing. Okay. And this, actually, in this case, my elbow joint, since she's putting the elbow on the table, the elbow joint should be should be looking from the side. Now trying to actually, don't know why I'm imagining when I have a book about that, but this does train my mental health. You know what? I'm going to keep doing this. Then once I have a good result, I'm gonna check on it. Or actually, when I don't see some good results, I'm gonna check on it. Now the elbow will make. Okay, so this is where the arm goes. Naturally, the forearm has two muscles, like the upper muscle that gives a little bit of thickness, and the lower one, which is the thicker one, is the one that you use when you dead hang. So that's the one that we're gonna give me the most volume. Now, as a true coward, I'm gonna hang a little bit of my... I'm gonna have to put a placeholder for the hands, because the hands is the last thing I'm gonna do in the entire drawing. Like, I'm gonna leave the hands for last. I don't even care. I'm not gonna work to that. She's having a glass held in her hand incorrectly, and that's something I'm very physical about. If you're drinking wine, your stupid hands should not be touching the cup. You should be touching the stupid, like your stupid hands goes here. You don't touch this piece of shit. The part of the glass with the wine needs to stay cool. Okay. So she's holding the cup. She's smiling. I think the proportions aren't very far away. But my technique of working now is being little by little going into solving one piece of the drawing at a time. So I think I'm gonna go and solve as much of the face as I can and try to proportionate the face. Then I'm gonna use the closest, most proportionate face that I can for her. I'm gonna use it on the body to try and make it look most proportionate. Maybe it's even better that I don't finish it today, because tomorrow I'm full. But Monday morning I can work out the details inside. Like, I can let my eyes relax and come back and see if my proportions are working, so I can start thinking. Actually, before starting inking, we need to add every piece of fancy jewelry. And then we ink. Okay. So I can keep that later on. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, the face. The face. She's a tiny, like ever so tiny inclined. And unfortunately, she's the most beautiful girl in the world, but her proportions are not perfect. Which means I need to take a look at that. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, she has higher. She has a kinda high hairline, which she's very insecure about, but I like it. I know that there is this like big idea currently that people should always, like, there's been a lot of propaganda into perfection and looking perfect. But I personally had been fed up so much of these perfect personas that now perfect looks dystopian as fuck. So I start finding way more attractive when people have some kind of something not actually, let's say that they look a little rough on some point, like a bigger nose, some weird lips. Personally, I find it more attractive than the perfect plastic look. Must be part of like must be part of getting used to something and little by little changing that taste. Wait, so if this is the chin, again, I don't know why I'm back to Loomis. I don't want to Loomis myself into oblivion, so I'm really, I don't really know why I keep coming to Loomis. I think that has to do with like, I don't know. I don't know why. I think it has to do with me wanting to cower behind Loomis. It has to do also with being lazy. Like I don't want to stay here and figure out the proportions all day long. I would just wish to go on with my drawing. Fortunately, this time is not gonna happen. So am I missing a third? Yes, I am. That should be the hairline. So mouth, nose to eyebrows, then hairline, which hair is a bit higher. I'm gonna try to make it as subtle as possible, like just a couple of millimeters. Like, where am I going with this face? Like, what? This is huge. Wait, can I make it so that it fits the mannequin? Yeah, this looks reasonable. Actually, I think I'm gonna lower the opacity even more because now everything is getting scuffed. All right. So this will be the proportions for the front, for the vertical proportions. Now the horizontal, she has a very thin jaw. So I want her jaw to converge the most. Now, as we said before, the jaw should be converging to this. And from the proportions, I would say that the jaw, like my front piece is basically a tiny bit less large than my mouth, but hair is nose level of large. So let's put her nose, which should look something like this. Like the consistency would come from me if I keep the nose. Actually, I'm on her eye level, so the nose is going to be basically a line. Okay. And let's drop this line over here. So that's going to be our indication as to her face shape. Now, I don't know if this distance is consistent. Fucking isn't. So let's shorten this one out. Okay. I think I've... Well, yes. This was way too early because now the mouth is actually... Like there's the... This is where the nose is supposed to be. I don't know why I put the nose. This is where the nose goes, right? Okay. So the mouth is actually not going to be... I don't think the mouth is the halfway point, right? Doesn't make sense. Is it a halfway point? I think it's a little bit higher than half. Okay, so that means the jaw is actually way lower than anticipated. Yeah, because the curvature starts at or below the mouth. Okay. Scuffed as fuck. Not okay. Do it again. Right. Now, the face feels way too fucking long. Not long, not. I've said it feels way too fucking wide. Not really. I feel that's indicative. How about we take a measurement on hair? Like if I took a measurement on her face, it is about so the biggest the temple part should be, yep, that's the thing that I was missing. So my horizontal is being actually very bad. How about now? This is way closer. Let's see that they are consistent. Not really. Kind of. I think I can go even a little closer. Okay. And now remember, we drag this up until the mouth and then we move it over here. Now this looks definitely better. It makes me want to stop it a little higher. But let's trust it out and put just where the stuff should go. Then we will work back from there. So somehow both of the ears are actually hidden. I don't know how the fuck. How the fuck are both ears hidden? I don't see like both of them from the front. That's bizarre. Does the cheekbones hide ears? Yes, they do. Fucking cheekbones, man. Because I can see this plane, but it means that this plane is behind this one. Wild. Okay, that ear is just that ear is ridiculous. Let's make them. I know that I should like theoretically finish about the nose. I think hairs are a little bit. Actually, rather than hair being a little bit weird, it's just because I think that that's where my perspective is being held. Okay, the nose. The nose, the nose, the nose. Let's try and put the shape of it. Now, again, I don't want to... Like, if I improve any feature, if I make it more proportionate, if I got too far off, then it won't look like hair anymore. And that's a no-no. Going too realistic, or I would rather push it under the idealize a little more than under the surrealistic, because then I'm gonna get kicked in the ass if I go overboard, you know. Wait, the cranium is higher than the hairline, so that's to be kept in mind. As am I. Okay, looks good. Doesn't look too feminine at this point, but we can work it up. So the nose bridge, this is the lowest part. This is where the nose finishes. I can see a bit of the top. Okay. Yeah, this looks kind of accurate. Now, actually, yeah, actually, it is stupid what I'm doing here. So there's going to be two parts of this. The bottom part, which will look like this. So you have one of the nostrils, which is the biggest part. I like that. Then there's going to be the higher part. I think is a bit square and a bit too large, I think. Can make it a tiny bit smaller. Gonna look just a little better. Probably most of it has to do with the rendering, I think. Okay, this is sweet. Nice nose. Masher. So she has strong eyebrows. This is one thing that I really like about her. Now it feels weird because Hollywood again. They will always try to make like girl this plastic look. I don't know, thick highlines really pop in the face. I think they're fun. Just plain, simple fun. Okay, I'll try to not over render this because if we have to move anything, I will regret it. Okay. So let's lay down the eyes. She has a peculiar shape of the eyes. They're kind of small. She has in general very delicate features with some of them being actually very pronounced. I don't know, find them of my taste because they're very peculiar. Like the eyes should probably finish when I decide that this curves. No? Because this is the change in plane. And I should make both of them kind of consistent. Let's say coming from the ear. Right? Sounds like a good place to turn. Now, obviously, this turn is a little exaggerated, but fine. So yeah, this is one of the pieces of the eyes, and they start a little bit more centered than the eyebrows. So there's the shape. Which I'm going to manipulate just a tiny bit. Because I really don't enjoy drawing realistic eyes. It's one of those things that they don't look aesthetic at all. But as I said, hairs tend to be on the smaller side. Now the mouth. which in her case is very thin. I think I can go the anime route. Like her lips are the thinnest. Very lovely. I think we're going places. Okay. So this is where our hairline checked in. Good. So let's add the. Let's put a little shape of the hairs, of the hair. Hair is not countable. Last time I remember. The biggest that's something that is going to make it easier for me because the bigger shape of her hair covers a lot. Then we can make a detailed shape over here. And the biggest part is gonna go right above the skull because there's not so much thickness over there, so that's going to be like the place. So even if I go anime, should be should try to make them consistent as in width. I think that they're way too big. Like they are anime, but unrealistic, and it looks bizarre. So I have to decide afterwards if I want to go anime or realistic. If I want to go realistic, I have realistic to make them smaller. Could also stylize them in some way. But first, let's finish the everything else and check the proportions, how they're going. So again, the hair are the part that I'm the most lucky about because I can solve a lot of it just by simply placing very little shapes. The only issue with her hair that she's not quite dark, not color white. So either I have to go with toned with some kind of tone, or I don't know. Now I could be using somebody to test out how good my proportions worked. I think that the nose needs a little bit more of a form check. Yep. This is the part of the nose that's not really convincing, but I don't believe it has to do with the shape. More like with the nose itself. More like the crappy craftsmanship that's going on over here. Yeah, it's very bizarre to try and render someone's features. Now, thankfully my girl will not be pissed if I make her... if I mess her up. But yeah, I think that overall, it is quite clear that's her. Just need to experiment with the mouth. I think that's the piece. And maybe the jaw is just a little bit too long to my taste. Now, if I were to follow... if I were to follow Loomis, the jaw is too short. Let me get a closer look. Yeah, technically the jaw is too short. but that's bizarre as fuck. Like the hair works. I think the proportion in general are actually very good. And most of it works great. Like the problem that I want to try and fix is the eyes. I'll try to... So the more realistic approach would be to make them even thinner and even smaller. But that's not what I'm trying to do. The one thing that I want to do is work in what's hair details of the eyes. Like press on the fact that they are small and long. I should get some anime reference. Dr. Stone has this kind of eye structure. I think I can base it off Senku. Senku does have this kind of structure, so like it would start and would go long. And this maybe looks interesting. But then the have to work on smaller pupils, otherwise they would look bizarre as fuck. Okay, how does this work? This is scary as shit. Next. What if you go full anime? But I think that the descriptive part is that like the lower lip that's the way that they feel. Can I describe this in some way? I'm really running out on translations. I can't quite translate reality at this moment. Nope, too big. Let's make it just around the corner big. Can't tell you, I'm not 100% opposed to this feel and this look. I think it's actually, I think this nails it up. I need to just work on the consistency between them too. How about if I switch to red and try to put it a little more consistent. Because like the lower part is the part that I think has to be the most inconsistent. The ice is very important in a piece, so let's try and actually render them out to see how does this look. They have an almost Egyptian vibe to them. Yeah, I think I'm liking this. Let's add some kind of detail. No? Tiny bit of eyelashes. Top lip. Top lip. Texture, texture. It's going to be full black. Then add some reflections. Suggest the pupil. This is terrifying. No, 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 no. Too black, too black, too black, too black. Go back. As my current ability goes, I think this is reasonable. Should be recognizable. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say that it's recognizable. I can work with this. Okay. Now the ice testing grounds are done. We can merge with layer below. Go back to blue. So that's going to be an important layer. Now, we have the proportions and most of the work done. I have to smooth out the lines for her to look more feminine. But let's try to get the body in a correct position so that I can tomorrow keep the sketch going. I'm very tired of the drawing. 2 hours is probably as far as I've gotten in general. So that's been quite a doozy. Also, both in Twitch, I don't think I've ever laid up to 3 hours. Either I'm taking a break or I'm raiding somebody. Okay, come back stronger another day. I don't want to. I always honestly don't want to go overboard. Let's just correct a little bit the proportions and then be on our way. Just a tiny bit. Okay. Now, shoulder width should be consistent with the head. So technically this is fine, right? We can even draw a tiny bit over it, like just a tiny. Like now, I know that theoretically speaking that should work, but if I look at the image and if I look this back, they don't feel consistent. So excuse me that I have to measure. Okay. Turns out that the proportion is like half, like full head, like 3/4 of the head length. So by that margin, I'm actually need to bring it a little closer. Going on white, yep. So let's mark it up. This is where my head goes. This is where my arm should go. This is the ball, by the way. Same would go for that. So this is where the ball goes. This is where my shoulder work. The neck seems to attach over here, which is a very thin neck. Okay. And yeah, this should actually correct. Dude, this would actually then correct my issue with the hands. This piece can actually be moved, because I think that this works. It looks terrible to be moved. I'll just draw them again. Be a good shop and not be a lazy bum. Don't know what the fuck is going on outside. There's so much noise. Like so much fucking noise. Like a party of something. Actually, the glass is very tall. Like insanely tall. The fuck, the glasses were very big. Absolutely must have fucking daunting. Okay. I think I'm gonna make it smaller because dude, these glasses are final boss level kind of bullshit. Okay, so there's darker one. Head's a bit big for this body. Do I take some licensing? I think that body is very small. Maybe I also need to make it tiny bit higher. Okay. But it's more like my hands are kind of small. Or parts of my arm. Like, what if I get down the shoulder? How does that look? Looks very small compared to everything else. Let's thicken the arm a little. See if it helps. Maybe a bit. I think I can also move the head just a little lower. The head still looks way too big. Or the body is way too small. Like it's one of those things. How about the body's a tiny bit bigger? It looks small. It looks better. I think it's still small. The glass is getting scary, bro. The glass is... Like, this looks fair. Can we agree that this looks fair? It's actually good. Now we can push a little bit more on the neck being small, because she has a very small neck. This looks as good as I can make it for now. So I'm gonna take a break and I will see you on Monday because Sundays full. I don't have time for that. Let's take a look at somebody to be rate. Somebody that does not events, but somebody that's gonna be in the same category. And I'm gonna swing by them for like a tiny bit to get the similar. Also, never forget the English. I don't know why, but it's all VTubers and it's very few English. Yeah. Short drawings, shush, new chapter on webtoon. Okay, webtooner. I'm ready for that. Sounds like a good rate. Well, thank you everyone. And take and look a little bit in the chat and see you Monday.